Okay, so you can start. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's already live.
Yes, it's already live. You can start.
Okay, let me just hacks.
Okay, let me redo the introduction since it's now live on YouTube. Welcome, everyone. Today's session is just a minute. Let me read that. Wordlists for going in blind. And our speaker for today is Hilary Soita. He says he doesn't know how to introduce himself, but I think most of us who've worked with him, we know he's a web security guru. He is so good at what he does. And we're very lucky that he'll be taking us through something today. So Hila, you can take it away.
Okay, let me start sharing my screen. I'll share this one. Wait, which one? Yeah, I'll share this one. Kindly let me know if you guys can see my screen, just so I can know I'm sharing it properly.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So what do I have on now?
You have web security wordlists going in blind.
So
Okay.
we're good. So let me just start the presentation. And there we go. Yeah, so Hilary Soita. So today we're going to be going through this topic, word list for going in blind. So the reason I chose this topic was because there's some parts of web security where we literally don't know much about the target. That's why I named it blind. And it can be applicable in different types of web security environments. This can include pen test. We can use this in a bug bounty platform as well, or any other security assessment that requires discovering things that are unknown. So hence the topic, word lists going in blind. I actually thought of this last minute. I wanted a cool topic, like going in blind, like a ninja kind of thing. So I think it sounds a bit cool, if I'm not wrong. So that's the flashy introduction. So that's about me. I'm an InfoSec analyst, and by night I'm usually a researcher and a bug hunter. So that's my Twitter handle right there. That's my GitHub. I usually fork some cool projects. I edit some other people's projects and then I put them here, and some other personal projects. That's my blog, silasec.com, and that's my specialty. I usually go with mobile and web. Try to expand that soon. So what are we going to learn today? So I'm going to explain the whole concept of word listing and why word lists are important. So I think this is the only part of my security research. I've been in security for almost close to 4 years, if I'm not wrong. It's almost 4 years. And I've learned a lot from the web. I've learned so many things from different platforms, but I think this is the only part of security that I've learned by myself. I've never had any reference of it anywhere. I've never read anything about it anywhere. I just learned it from my time doing bug bounties and doing security assessment. So there's this book I read a while back on psychology that people usually associate with things they usually see, and developers are not outside that circle. Everyone is inside the circle. So we usually relate things to what we see. Some memory techniques usually, when you tell someone your name, they'll relate the name to someone else they know. And through that process, that's how they actually retain it better. That's how I usually retain things better as well. So if you tell me something, I'll relate it to something else, and then it will stick. Now, that whole concept, imagine it right here. So word listing, what is word listing? It involves the art of creating word lists from the unique words we see. So, okay, and Eve, I hope you are listening. You told me I have a go ahead to use Safaricom as test bed. We are not hacking anything, it's just simple recon. Say, have your go ahead.
Yes, you have my blessing. And secondly, if you find a bounty issue, you can report for anyone who's here today.
Yeah, if we find anything, I'll just post the share and, and then I'll report real quick and then we'll resume. So psychology plays a good part in any part of security. That's what I was trying to explain. It's a psychological thing. If me as a developer, I'm building a site and I'm working on a certain module, say I'm working on safaricom.co.ke and I'm working on something like a slash, what can we use, slash plantations. Maybe that's a project I'm doing. Most likely, if I was developing this this whole project, this whole site, or this whole module, if I was developing it on my computer or another VPS I was using probably, or any other remote server on the cloud, if I was developing it there and it's called plantations, and I want to transfer it to the actual production environment, most of the time, if I zip that file and I send it, I'll zip it and I'll rename it to productions.zip.tar.gz. Usually it's something that relates with something they're working on. If it's productions, they'll name it as productions.zip. And that's most of the time. I'm not saying that's usually the case, but most of the time that's what happens. So today, this is going to be the basis of our session. And we're just going to be revolving around word lists and the art of creating word lists from my perspective. Maybe someone else has their perspective somewhere, but this is my perspective. So we're going to start with the first lesson, which is SEO. Let me just, so I'm going to use a different technique. I'm not going to go get, do the theory and then do the practical later on. So we are just going to do the practical as we proceed. So I'll just open my terminal. Yeah, I don't want to close the whole thing. So SEO is a small utility that given a certain URL, it will crawl that endpoint, that domain or that URL, find maybe the sample endpoints that we have inside there, and then it will actually extract words from that endpoint. So we're going to do a small demo. So here are the options we have right here. So we have SEO, we have this D that specifies the depth inside the link that is going to crawl and actually get the words. We have the M, which is the minimum length. So if you want only the words that are only 3 letters long, or 3 characters long, you can actually do that. UA is the user agent. Some sites usually block people from accessing them. If maybe you're using a certain browser, maybe they only allow us to use Chrome, or Firefox, or maybe whichever browser you want, maybe it's Brave, whichever browser you want. Some sites usually block us and they require certain browsers. So we can use this to bypass that filter. So let's look at a small demonstration. So we have SEO. Actually, we have that autocomplete here. Let me just delete this. Do this up to here. Yes, so we want this. We want a minimum length of 6. So we're not going to have anything less than 6 characters. And we have the A, we have the domain right here. So it's going to do its magic. It's going to crawl this site for unique, not even unique words, just any word it finds inside here, and then it's going to output it for us, and we're going to add that to a word list. And later on, we're going to see how we can use that word list to our advantage. So it's actually doing its thing in the background. Yeah, so there we have it. Some metadata were found. So if we look at this, we can actually see there's a lot of words that were actually discovered here. So these are all words that were present in this website. So yeah, we also have wholesale, we have Safaricom, Republic, roaming. Some of these are all services Safaricom utilize. We have words like, notice there's a Safaricom with small s, there's a Safaricom with capital S. So that's also something to take note of. So all these are different words. You can actually add them to a certain list. So for this, I have a project directory. I named it She Hacks. So inside here is where I'm going to be throwing everything. So we have word lists. Yeah, so here's where I'm going to be throwing everything. So let me just copy this and I'll just say test.txt and I'll throw everything here. So from now on, I'll be saving everything there as we proceed. So yeah, so that is one of the ways we can actually extract words and unique words from a certain domain. So this is just a sample. You can actually do this on multiple domains. You can do this on any target you wish to extract words from. So the whole point of this is getting unique words that are special to the target we're looking at. So if you look at this target for specifically, we have unique words that most likely you won't find anywhere else. Words like Safaricom, most likely you won't find them anywhere else. Chances are, maybe if you're doing a bug bounty assessment on a certain, maybe say it's a domain that maybe, I don't know, like Shopify, maybe they have a bug bounty program. Most likely you're going to use words that are custom to them, not words that are generally known. So the more the custom the words, the better the chances of finding unique things. So that's just a sample of how to use the command. So we're going to go to the next one, which was crunch. So this is like a interesting one as well. So crunch is usually used to generate word lists using numbers, letters, symbols, whichever. You're going to have different permutations of the same of the words you're generating from this. So unlike seal, this one just generates them. It doesn't crawl a certain endpoint and then tries to extract words from there. So you can just generate them on the fly. Maybe you have crunch. Actually did this before. So we can specify the minimum number of words we want, which is 3. We can even specify the maximum. Let's say it's 4. And say we want to work with specific letters. If you want to generate them, maybe you want to work with A, B, C, and D. Actually, therefore, the maximum is 4, so we can't use 5. So this one will generate. It will actually permutate different variations of these 4 words. So as you guys can see, these are different variations of the same letters we have, of the letters we have, A, B, C, and D. So it will try and jumble up everything and give you a good view of what to expect from this word. So this is actually generating it. And later on, we'll come to see of how this is important. So you can actually save all these. It depends on the scenario you have at hand right now. If maybe there's somewhere you need these words and you don't know them, maybe there's somewhere you know they only have 4 words, but you just don't know the words they have, you can use these to generate as the different combinations of the same letters, forming 4 character words. So you can even save this maybe in a file somewhere and then use it for later. So I'm just going to take maybe Hadi Hapa, just going to grab it, Hadi Hapa, and then I'll nano the same file we have, test, and then we'll go page down, and then we'll just maybe add them there. just a sample word list we have. So I think that's clear for now. We've already understood Seal, we've already looked at Crunch and how it generates stuff. These are different options. We're not going to look at all of them because of time. I'm sure we're going to take quite a while. So if you guys are curious, you can look at it, and then if anyone is stuck, I'll leave my contacts later on and try to help each other out. So that's just the basics. So we've not even touched on the application itself and how we're going to actually interact with the application visually. So let's go a bit deeper and see how to use them in actual real life. So the third lesson is robots.txt. If everyone is, I think everyone is aware of robots.txt. If you're not, it's a file that is usually on the web root of the application. So this file usually tells search engines that are trying to crawl your site to obey the rules that have been defined in this file. So let me just open my browser here real quick. Actually, I'm on my browser. I'm just going to, yeah, I'm using Canva. So I'm just going to do a quick index.off, and I'm going to do robots.txt. I want us to look at the anatomy of a txt file. I believe I'd opened one before. Let me just copy paste it from somewhere here instead of just looking around. So far we are not hacking into anything. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just searching for robots.txt. And every site has unique fields they're trying to protect. So if we kind of see this robots.txt, actually telling the search engine that if they try to crawl our site, we are disallowing it from actually indexing these folders we have here. And if we're smart enough, we can actually get that. Okay, so these developers do not want the search engine to index these directories. So that means if something is disallowed, it means there's something special about this directory. In most cases, there's something special about this directory. It's probably it's of interest. It contains some data that's not supposed to be viewed, but they don't want to be indexed. So this most likely are confidential data that people don't want us to see. So in most cases, what I'll do is I'll actually just take all these. Okay, I'm not going to copy paste it right now, but I'm just saying in most cases, what I will do is when I'm doing an assessment, maybe it's about bounty engagement, and I actually go maybe to a site like safaricom.com. I'll just go to the safaricom.com. In fact, let me even try it. .co.ke/robots.txt. So they only have sitemap here. But if there were any case like this, I will just go open my word list and save all these words. So this is a unique word we are interested in. I'll go and save this, and the rest. So all these are the words that will actually come to give importance or benefit in the near future. So that's for robots.txt. Never ignore that file. Always look into it because there's something they don't want us to see. There's something they don't want search engines to index, and that's what we're interested in. Yeah, where's that thing? Okay, here it is. The other part is the subdomains. I believe everyone can still see the presentation. I don't want to maximize it because of changing screens. Can everyone still see it properly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so the next part is the subdomains. So for this, we're going to use a tool called, let me just maximize this. We're going to use different tools. There's a tool called Sublister. And then the -D option gives us the ability to specify the domain we want. So if I do this, Sublister is going to actually query different sources, Baidu, Yahoo, whatever, Net, all these, even go and query SSL certificates. And it's going to give us a couple of subdomains that belong to safaricom.co.ke. So the reason we're looking for subdomains is because not everything is usually on the main domain. So if you can see what I'm highlighting here, this is the main domain. This is the subdomain. And it's usually, they are usually like, this is the subdomain. This is the first level subdomain. This is the second level subdomains. They can go recursively just like that. So we're usually interested in the subdomains. Everyone usually looks for subdomains, but the thing I found I usually do uniquely is when I look for all these subdomains, I usually go and extract these words. All these initial words, I notice not so many people usually do this, and have done this with great success in the past. So instead of just going to a subdomain and start working on it, I usually go and extract all these words and then I put them in a file. So a simple way we can actually do something like this is, let me do, don't let this work. So we'll use awk, and then we'll give it a delimiter of this, and then we'll have this, and I'm using a different keyboard. And then we'll print the first, yeah, this should work. So what this is telling this script to do is, once it does all this, the output will be passed to awk, and then it will give it a delimiter of this dot, full stop. So whenever there's a full stop, it's going to do whatever we're going to give it here. So what we're doing this is printing this one, just the one before the full stop. This is 1, this will be 2. If we gave it 3, it will print this. If we gave it 4, it will print this. So this is what we want. Let's see how it's supposed to, if everything goes well, it's supposed to only print this beginning ones. Hizi za kwanza hapa. Yeah. So far, as we can see, we have some unique words that are not usually present in your common word list, like recruitment quiz. We can see this is actually a product of Safaricom, one of the subdomains. This is actually a certain feature of Safaricom. So recruitment, whatever, there's payroll, open your eyes. So this, yeah, Nikon Safaricom, M-Pesa mini statement app, statement verification, M-Pesa, basically, yeah, this is everything we need. So what I will do is probably take something like, I would put this to our word list, which is text.txt. So that's supposed to do everything. It's supposed to save all this in our txt file, just append it. So if we do a simple tail of this, we should have, yeah, we have that there. So later on, we're going to see other ways we can actually work with this to give us some more interesting stuff. So those are subdomains. So these are different ways of discovering subdomains. So we've looked at Sublister. There's another tool called Subfinder. I think because of the time we have, we can actually leave you. I can actually leave you guys to actually use this and see how it works. So we have Subfinder. Usually does the same thing. So we have different tools. It's not good to rely on just one tool. You can actually use different tools. So you guys, this is like a sample of, if you're using Subfinder, this is what we can do. Subfinder -d, and then the asset that you're actually working on minus silent just tells it to not output so many things. It will give us the same output. So if you guys are interested, you can actually list this down, maybe put this as a tool you're going to research on maybe later on. Yeah. So lesson number 5, which is directory or file fuzzing. So we have our word list. Which is test.txt. So directory fuzzing or file fuzzing is where if you have a target like this, right now we're working on Safaricom, you don't know everything that's behind safaricom.co.ke. If we visit Safaricom here, at least right now we are redirected to /personal. But in most cases, if you're working on a certain engagement, you don't know what's /something. You literally don't know. So in most cases, this is where fuzzing comes in. So directory or file fuzzing usually tries to enumerate all these directories that are after the co.ke because we actually don't know them. And this is where the importance of the word list usually comes in. So the better your word list, the more comprehensive your word list, the more things you're going to find. So it's usually better. The reason we're actually doing all this is to better our word list, to fill our word list with so many words, so many different combinations of different words, that the better the word list, the bigger the word list, usually the more we're going to find, and you're going to find other stuff that other people do not have. If I'm using a common word list that like setlist is a good word list if you guys are looking for setlist. Yeah, so Daniel Misler did Misler. Daniel Misler has a really good collection of word lists here. So if you're looking for one, this is a good one. But the bad thing is, the disadvantage is everyone who is doing assessments, everyone who is doing bug bounties, everyone has this. I'm going to give you that for free. So me, I have it. I know some other guys usually collab with. Everyone has this. So if you're using this, you're a bit at a disadvantage kidogo because you're only going to be discovering stuff other people have discovered, and hence you're going to get stuff that other people have already gotten. So it's good to be unique and have a good word list. So fuzzing usually use a couple of different tools. So yeah, we have this called dir search, my personal favorite. I know other people have different tools like FF, which is in the slides, but for this presentation, I'm going to use dir search. So if you guys are interested in this, later on maybe you can go and research on how FF works. So dir search usually takes in a certain argument, which is -u, which is the URL. In this case, we are looking for something like maybe that, and then the is for extensions. We want to match all extension. The zip, rar, txt, whichever, just does everything. So, and then you give it a word list. So in this case, I'm going to use the word list we've actually compiled right now, which is, I named it txt. Most likely it's not going to find anything because it's something new. We haven't even populated it with stuff that is actually present there. But the point is, dir search is not writable. Okay, so I'll just open a new tab. Dir search is misbehaving. See these scripts, dir search. There you go. Yeah, so just copy the whole thing again. Maybe paste it here. And because my word list is not here, I'm going to hacks. And we have word list. And we have test. What the hell? Okay, so we have some issues with my, actually no. Python 3, and then we have the R search. Yeah, so it should do something like this. So it will start all those words we have in the txt file, the ones that are being tried. If there's a word like tried. So we have a word like components somewhere in there. We have includes and Ndomahana may resolve. And then we have all these different things that are giving us different 4.3s. If anyone knows about 4.3, it's forbidden. So you're not forbidden to access these directories by some means. But this is the whole concept of word listing. So word lists usually they go through, they usually use a directory, and then they feed all the words that you've given it in the word list, and they try to resolve it. You can see this is error. This is the status code is 301, means it resolved, and it actually gave us something. You can even see here. So maybe if you follow this, you're going to land somewhere most likely where you have to do more fuzzing. Like in this case, you have to do it here, and then you have to use this as a whole word, and then I'll come and replace it here as well. Yeah, you just say the components and all, and then it will fuzz inside there trying to discover all these directories. So I'm hoping now the whole concept of fuzzing is clear. Can I get a yes or a no?
It's a yes.
That's a dead silence. Mi niliambia watu kama haongei, it's either you're not doing something right, or I don't know, maybe watu washiki.
We have yeses in the chat.
Yani, I'm so distracted, I'm not even looking at the chat, Saki.
Nisawa, I'll check them out for you.
Nisawa. Okay, so that's fuzzing, looking for directories and files. So we looked at the R search. Now you guys later on can go and look at FFAF. So another thing is header grabbing. So what we are interested in here is what's contained in the headers are different things. So let's grab one of the headers up on. So I created a small function using curl. I put it in my bash profile. I named it as get header. Yeah, get header. But this is a simple implementation in curl. So isn't all the things that you usually find in a header, the content type, content length, date, server, all this stuff. So looking at the headers, some things we see from just looking at it, there's some things we see like CDN, we know it's in Pava. So there's a technology you actually know these guys are using. Most likely if they have a firewall, it's going to be by Impava. Share, we have some stuff here. Security policy. So from even here, we can even see other domains that we did not know of. So you can see there's a Blaze, Facebook.net. There's communication between Safaricom and all these domains you see here. To some extent, there is some communication that some deeper research can unveil, but we actually know there's some other domains it's communicating with. So what you usually get from the headers is we are looking for, depending on the domain, I've not seen this on Safaricom when I was hunting, but different domains like Shopify and others usually have custom headers. So you actually want to look out for them. So if you have a custom header, it means these guys have customized this application to their needs. And that's most cases we're actually looking for something custom. So if the developers are building something custom, that means they're actually using custom stuff. So that means they are using custom code, and chances are if they're not using a certain framework, there's a mistake they're making somewhere and you'll be there to catch that. So by doing this, you can actually look this through different applications. Maybe you're hunting on safaricom.com.co.ke and other applications. So this is usually a technique you're supposed to be doing. So if you have a custom header, maybe you're actually looking for different words within the header, within the custom header fields that they've defined. Like there's something I was looking at a few months ago. One of the custom headers was a word on their site. Say the site is xyz.com. So there's a word they used on the custom header. I think it was X something, something, something. I don't remember exactly. But there was a word they were using that they also used in another application that they were developing. So I grabbed that word. I appended the word .zip upper mwisho ya the word. Say the word was gym. I just took the word and I appended gym and I put .zip at the end. And during the whole engagement, I was looking for that gym.zip somewhere because it looked so familiar and the developer maybe made a mistake somewhere. And at the end of the day, I found a gym.zip just by looking at this header and what they had defined here. So the words we're trying to get from here are also important. So I will come and look for unique words. Here we have the personal. That's probably unique to them right now, but not so much. But right now we don't have anything here, but this is just a POC to show you what to look for. So this lesson is to show you always look for the headers. So if you want the command for looking at the headers, it's just a small nano bash profile. So these are all my definitions. So get header, here it is. So it's cal, you give it X, and then you give it head minus I, and then you give it the URL you're trying to look at. It will give you the same output. I hope we have that point clear. So that's lesson number, this is 6. Header grabbing is important. You can also use a tool called HTTPX, which I believe people know about HTTPX. So let me try something. Echo HTTPS, and then we have this. It's safaricom.co.ke. So if we echo this to HTTPX, will give us, so we have different options for HTTPX. There's the no color, just says do not give us all these fancy colors. We have the title, the status code, and now we are interested in this location. So the location header is what we're interested in right now. And it tells us, it shows us where the application is going to load, where it's going to land after it loads. So if you visit this URL, as we've seen, it redirects us to personal, if you guys have seen that. So instead of actually going manually to actually look at that, if we do this, it's supposed to give us that. So this is the location header. So this is something I usually go for. Maybe you might look at an application, maybe it's a .co.ke and maybe don't know where it's going. So instead of doing that, I usually do this with HTTPX. So this is just an example. Maybe on further research, guys can actually see how HTTPX works and how it does its thing. So in this case, I usually go and get this word and I save it. Save it to my word list and I continue permutating it too. I usually, basically the word list grows. Like you can say the word list is 2 months old, 7 months old, becomes a teenager, and then it reaches adulthood, and then it dies when you lose it. Ukiformat laptop yako. Yeah, so that's that. So that's header grabbing. But the slides are so little. I think nishafika halfway, inafika 15. So the other one is reading page comments. So this is another thing that's usually overlooked. So it doesn't have so much to it. This is just literally viewing the page source. And the reason I put this here is because I noticed so many, it's not even rare, it's actually very common. So many people usually leave comments on stuff they wanted to do on this site, or maybe they transferred this source code from somewhere else. So they usually leave comments, be it on the PHPs, maybe JSPs, or the HTML. So there's a case where I was actually looking at the source code. I was just looking at the comments. No one told me to look. I was just looking, and then there was somewhere someone commented something, like just the way I've seen like a comment here. Yeah, just like this. A href, something by now. You see, it's been commented. Wait, this not, yeah, it's been commented out from here. So this was a button that was put here. And then later on, this guy was like, no, we don't need this button. So in some cases, when you actually go to the application, you'll actually see some comments that these guys, it's a feature they removed, but it's still here. So there's a case where I actually saw a comment. There was a URL this guy was supposed to redirect people to on the application. It's supposed to do a certain redirect to another feature or another module that was implemented, say a link. So it was something .co. Not .co. It was .com, and then there was some words, no commercial. So I went and grabbed all those words and I put them in my word list. So again, we are growing the word list slowly by slowly. So I put all those words in my word list, and eventually I found an endpoint that contained those words that I found in this comment, but they were not available when I was Googling around. So that's another important thing to notice, looking at the comments in the code, be it PHP, maybe there's a backup somewhere, someone left a comment, you downloaded something and there was a comment inside there. Whichever HTML, just look at the source code and see if the developer left some comments. These guys are human, they also make mistakes. Another lesson is the Wayback Machine. I don't know how often people use this, but I think it's actually pretty common. So the Wayback Machine utilizes archive.org. So archive.org is a page that usually takes snapshots of different, let me just. So it usually takes snapshots of different websites. You can actually just load it real quick. So all these are like sample snapshots it took. Like if we actually do HTTP, yes, and then we have safaricom.co.ke. So it should give us like historical feeds of places in history where somebody loaded this site and found something. So all these are snapshots that refer to safaricom.co.ke. Probably if you click on one of them, it will give you all the links and all the URLs that people visited. But since we want to be effective, we don't want to be clicking on the UI each and every time. For that, we'll use the two tools. So one is called Wayback Urls, which can be forked from GitHub. It's by a guy called Tom Nomnom, really good researcher. One of my mentors, even if he doesn't know it, he's still my mentor by force. There's that Wayback Urls, and there's another one that we're going to be looking at now, which is called GAU. It's by a guy called Hacker, then there's an underscore. So GAU stands for Get All URLs. It basically goes out and looks for URL for endpoints, which Sawa, we will echo you. Let me echo that, safaricom.co.ke, and pass it to GAU. No. It's GAU, and then it's GAU, and then Wait, am I forgetting how to use Go? Hey. What am I mistyping? Okay, so seems I have two Go's. Okay, these are different one. Okay, let me just use the Wayback one. We have Wayback Urls. So you guys will actually go and look at Go, since I had left Wayback Urls for you guys, but we're going to use Wayback Urls, and then you guys are going to look at Go. So Wayback Urls will actually fetch all the URLs that relate to safaricom.com, all of them. It goes for subdomains, so it's not only the safaricom.com peke. It usually also goes for this subdomains. As you can see, we have Toweza Live, we have VC, we have Your Advantage. All these are URLs that were indexed at some point. So the good thing with this is you don't have to go and do all that hard work for discovering stuff. Oh yeah, robots.txt, and here the robots.txt again. If it's indexed, that means there's probably something good about it. As you can see, okay, here we have webmail, we have words like web. These are unique words we want in our word list. So we have stuff like live concert. These are words you can't, in most cases, find in any common dictionary or word list. So these are words we have to put in our word list, and we're going to look at how to do that. You see, Digifarm. Digifarm is a Safaricom service. Let me just load it. I don't know if it's going to load, but there's a Safaricom service called Digifarm. So all this stuff we didn't get using a common word list. If you go to sec list, in most cases, you won't find some of these words. As you can see, Digifarm is here. So this word, you add it to your word list, and you're probably going to find the same word somewhere else in another subdomain that's not Toweza. Probably there's another subdomain called FTTH. Maybe there is a word called, there's something like Digifarm that will resolve there. So these are stuff you're not 100% sure. That's why it's called fuzzing. Even when it comes to exploiting binary services and firmwares, we also have fuzzing there. It's because you're trying different things because you're never sure which one is going to work. So these are the words we're going to grab. So if I do this and use I showed you guys something to do with awk a while back. So if we do awk and then we minus F, now in this case, the separator is this slash. And then we're going to print. So here we're just extracting words. So I'll print, this is 1, this is 2, this is, no, actually, no, let me use, actually, yeah, we're just going to use that. So let me print 3. Let me see what 3 has. Oh, so 3 is the domains themselves. Let me do 4. So this is going to print all these unique words that are after safaricom.ca.ke. So we have unique words. So we have the favicon, we have robots. Yeah, this is what we looked at. So all these words, you're supposed to add them to your word list. So all these are unique words that you can't find in any dictionary or word list. Talent hunt, medical camp, live concert, all these words. So you can even see some PHP files. You're not limited to just words. You're limited to, you can even input the files. So what are the chances you're going to find load more _stories.php in a word list? Probably not. Actually not. You're not going to see it. That's why we want to add this to our word list. Stories, take the time _terms.pdf. You're not going to find that in our word list. All these ones. So yeah, it's just a good, it's good to use this methodology to expand your word list. And this is something not so many people do. So that's why I usually do it, to avoid maybe in bug bounty environments, to avoid so many duplicates and stuff like that. So Wayback URLs, and you guys can go and research on GAO. I know I've not installed that, the GAO I was looking for, but here it is. You guys can actually go and look at it. Fetch known URLs from all these sources here. Yeah. I have a different GAO, it's not the one I was expecting. So I hope this is clear. Using Wayback URLs to query archive.org and find other URLs that were other endpoints that were indexed. And through that, you can actually go and grab all these words that are unique. I grabbed 4. You can actually go home and try with 5. It will still grab other words. We have the words API, Amazon, Kindle. All these are services that are unique to Safaricom that you need in your word list, because you might find them somewhere else. You can even go to the JS files and actually read through JS files. You can actually find some really interesting stuff. So that is all about Wayback Machine. I know I'm going a bit fast, and it's because of time. I'm pretty sure we have like 15 minutes remaining. So that's why I'm going really fast, and most likely I'm not going to cover everything. So some things you're just going to have to learn on the go. Maybe later on, you'll just research on them. So this was for Wayback. So the other lesson to learn is very simple, not technical at all, which is social media. So if me, who's that guy? Who is this guy? Check out this guy. Anyway, just let him be. So me, if I'm going to learn something about Safaricom, me, if I'm a developer, maybe working for Safaricom, I'm part of the social media guys, and we have a new feature called Lipa na M-Pesa. It's been added maybe as a new feature. Most of the time, this is where you're going to find it first. If I come, Safaricom, just query Safaricom. We usually use social media. Let me just go to these guys. We usually use social media because most of the new stuff that usually, maybe if you guys deploy an application, most likely you're going to tweet about it. Hey, you guys, check out our new feature. For example, we're not even going far. Tuanike, most likely there'll be a feature, or maybe there'll be a service, or there'll be a sub-application touching on Tuanike, most of the time. So what I will do is come, take this Tuanike, which I only add to for the sake, and I will and I will nano my txt, alafu I just add pale juu kitu kama Tuanike. So sometimes I usually do this manually. It looks tiring, but in the long run, wanga inasaidia. I'm jangling up with Swahili. It looks tiring, but in the long run, it usually helps. So we are looking for unique services, new services that Safaricom tweeted about. For example, how I knew about Lipa na M-Pesa was not because I was looking at the application and saw it, but because I was searching around on their tweets and I came across, oh, Lipa na M-Pesa, there's a service like this. And then I'll add that to my word list, and probably it will give me something fruitful later on. So say I'm doing this assessment right now, I'll take the word I've just taken right now. I'll scroll down and look for other services that they tried deploying. There's an easier way of doing this, which is a service, which is a tool called, there's Tweepy, which is a command line tool that usually goes and scrapes Twitter for certain things. Maybe given a username like Safaricom PLC, it will come and look for all the tweets that Safaricom tweeted. Now you just go through it on the command line, which is much faster and much easier than going through it manually. So as we can see, there's stuff like Safari Marathon, Twende Tukiuke, and weirdly, this is how I knew about this domain called Twende Tukiuke, and there's actually something like this. So as you can see, it's not even technical, it's very simple. Twende Tukiuke. See, yeah, it resolved, and I didn't fuzz for anything. I just found it right here. So this is a service they have. So as you can see from the very few seconds of searching, this is actually important. All these words are never just put here for the sake of putting them there. They're actually there for a reason. So, and so forth and so forth. You can actually go through all this or use the command line tool, TWP, and there's another one. I've forgotten it. Yeah, here's Twende Tukiuke again. If something appears more than once, that's something to pay attention to. That's a service they're actually hosting. Twende Tukiuke again. Twende Tukiuke. Twende Tukiuke. Twende Tukiuke. Yeah, again, Twende Tukiuke. Okay, so you get the point. So it's not so technical, but it's something that usually something to actually try out. And then the other thing we have is Shodan. And I'm going to do a gentleman's thing. I'm going to leave this to the viewers and attendees to actually search for endpoints and URLs using Shodan. So this will be like your homework. Yeah, you there at home, you have this as your homework. So go and learn on how Shodan works and how you can use it to query for different endpoints, and how you can use Shodan CLI. So there's a CLI version of Shodan. You can actually use that to query for endpoints as well on Shodan. So I'm going to leave this as an assignment. I'm not going to touch on it. So if guys are interested, if guys find this stuff maybe interesting and you guys are curious, maybe you can actually look at it. It's also another avenue for getting some unique stuff that most likely you can't fuzz, but Shodan maybe scanned it and they indexed it. So the other one is Babsuit. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Babsuit. So Babsuit is a proxying tool created by Portswigger that enables us to proxy traffic from HTTP URLs and parameters and whatever. So here's I've launched my Babsuit. It's licensed. You can use the cracked version as well if I'm not wrong. So I think this was a HackerOne license they gave me. They renewed it. So let me just create a simple default project. So we're starting up. So we can actually use Babsuit to, what happened? Oh, we can use Babsuit to actually generate word lists, weirdly. Okay, we're not going to go through the fundamentals of Babsuit. Most likely we have another session some other time. We can actually go through like a mini masterclass for Babsuit for all the features. But for now, we're just going to get straight to the point. So I'm going to use this Twende Tukiuke thing. Twende Tukiuke. I'm going to proxy this to Bab. I'm going to go to my proxy. I'm going to go to my intercept. I'm going to turn it. Yeah, it was on. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to load that again and it will proxy this. Let me add to repeater, but either way, you can still forward it. Just forward the stuff, But if we go to our target, our Safaricom comes here. So the tool you're going to use on Babsuit, if you go to Extender, let me just maximize this. On Extender, this is where we have everything that involves adding onto Babsuit, be it the APIs, some extensions, so we can actually do this from the App Store. So what we're interested in is Wordlist extractor. And the fact that they have Wordlist extractors as a Wordlist extractor as a plugin says a lot about the art of having a good word list. So they actually noticed this is a thing, having a good word list is a thing, and they created this app or extension, if you rather. So we have the Wordlist extractor. I have it installed. I'm not going to restore it. And if we go to our target, here is the Safaricom instance we had. Let me just try to expand stuff. We have this, we have this, we have this, we have this, the JS files, we have offers, timelines to QK. Wait, I'm not seeing any text. Where are the texts? So for this to work, we actually need to have some responses that actually have some good text in them. If that doesn't work, I'll just use something else. I'll even use Canva here. Okay, we don't have so many texts here. Let me just do the same thing. But wait, I'm even going to turn my proxy off. Interception is off. Let me just load this site. I'm sure here there are a couple of things. Yeah. So as you can see, the target is flashing, means something new has come through it. If we open personal, I'm not so sure if we're going to get stuff. Business. So right now it's still spidering, but I'm sure you can actually get stuff. So we have personal includes whatever. We have get more. We have YouTube bundles here. So we can, I'm looking for something that has some words. Yeah, so here are a couple of words. Yeah, this has something. I think we can work with this. So the extension, how it works is whenever it sees things on the response, so here we have words like Safaricom, personal, most likely it's going to get this. So what we just do is we right click here, and then we go to our custom word list, and then it will prompt us to save this. It's come to this other window. So if I save this on desktop, and I save it as she.txt. And then if I go to my desktop, I'll have this she.txt. So it has all the words. I'm sure Safaricom is somewhere inside here. Yeah, the Safaricom also, which is here. Let me try look for this website and see if it's there, and we confirm if this is actually working properly. Oh, we can't see this. JavaScript. Interesting. It's looking for HTML only. Yeah, but here we have it. So it's, at least we can see it's extracting some stuff. So all this stuff are stuff I usually go and add them to our, here's something I was telling you about prior. So we can actually see words like personal, we have finder, something, whatever, all these words. So the thing we can do is just adding all the words we see, like the words we've just seen right now, you can actually append this to your word list and then probably use it somewhere else, like fuzzing and all that stuff. So now we go to we're almost finishing. So I think we are done with BAP. I've already showed you the extension and how to use it. And this is just the basics. So if you want more, you'll have to go and research more. Yeah, so that's Babsuit. The other thing is studying JS files. So JS files are other places where we usually have some interesting stuff. And from the Wayback URLs, the ones we looked at, we saw there are a couple of JS files that were returned, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if we grep for .js, I'm sure we'll be able to see some JS files that were returned here. So if you actually happen to be doing your assessment and you come across JS files, you're not supposed to ignore them. So all these JS files usually contain some code and some endpoints that you're actually interested in. And most of the time, I usually go for something that is written custom, as we can see here. All these anything that has the word custom scripts, we usually take time to actually look at them. I usually look for, yeah, mostly custom stuff. So let me just try one of these. Maybe I'll do these scripts. Let me just see what they have here. So I also created a function called these get JS files that it's supposed to get JS files from a URL. If we can just try this out, we have get JS files. And if we give it a URL, it will actually go inside and crawl the source code and try to see all the JS files that it finds there. And as you can see, we have a couple of them. Yeah, we have that. So that's just for getting the JS files. But for crawling inside them, we have stuff like link finder. So here's a couple of, here's a JS file that I had. Yeah, here's the JS. So it will go through, it will visit this URL, which is this JS, go through it and try to give us a couple of endpoints that it will find. So in this case, it got a couple of stuff inside the JS file. So just from the word go, we can actually see the stuff like get sms.php. We have likes.php. And these are stuff that are interesting. M-Pesa calculator.php. So me, if I see something like this, I'll be interested in this. And I'll try and add this to my word list. Usually, I come and I add something like this. I'll copy this and add it to my word list. I copy this and add it to my word list, all this stuff. And this includes with the extension, Adi Hapo, and without the extension till there. So I'll go through all this. I'll even grab all this includes, put it in the word list. I'll grab API, put it in a word list. I'll grab, okay, for this example, this is all we have, but I'm guessing you guys already get the point of, what I mean. So crawling the JS files is also another important skill because you might get other endpoints like this. This is an endpoint here, which is per minute. Per minute is actually an endpoint inside here. So all this stuff, usually go through them and then you dump it in your eventual word list. So by the end of all these steps, you'll have like one really big word list, like containing like 1,000 words. Now from there, you'll just be removing the duplicate entries you've been entering in the word list. So we have this, and this is how to crawl maybe a JS file. You can do it manually if you want to, but link finder is here for a reason. It's here to make our work easier. There's another tool called Hack Crawler. I think it will crawl the site and the JS files as well. I'm not so sure, but there's that tool by a guy called Hacklook. I'll send that in the chats. So yeah, this is the link finder and this goes through JavaScript files. So that's another important skill to have. As you can see, we have some unique endpoints and different targets have different endpoints. And yeah, So there we were. And probably the final one. So this is where we actually go do stuff with the word list that we have. So there's directory, file fuzzing, and there's a method. This was the last method I was to show you. So what's it here? Yeah. So let me just, instead of using the whole thing, I'll just use the top ones. I'll head text dot this, and we have this. So this is just a sample I'm showing you of how developers make mistakes and how we're going to leverage our words to get those mistakes. So initially I talked of backups, and most developers, if not all of them, usually back up something, transfer, and then delete it. Now forgetting to delete is another thing. So this is where we usually leverage on stuff like that. You assume this developer will forget to delete something. And most of the time, backups are usually saved in a format like .zip. Just to make sure everyone is with me, which other backup extension do people know of? You can just type it in the chat or just say it.
Tar is it?
There's tar.bz, there's tar.gz, there's tar.whatever, there's zip, there's rar, there's 7z. So we're not going to give them a chance to let us not know which one they are using. And that is why I usually do this. So I usually come and use sed. So all this sed and awk basic bash scripting thingies. So you can use them for data analytics, basically. Sed and awk I usually use for data analytics. So they're usually special to bash. Don't think you can find them anywhere else. So here is something I'm doing. So I'm trying to append the words .zip, .tar, .gz, .whatever. I'm trying to append them all. I'll go through all the words that I have in my word list, and I'm going to append these extensions because from the title of the whole thing is going in blind, word list for going in blind. That means we actually don't know what's there. We are just fuzzing and hoping something will resolve as a result of a developer mistake. So for me, I'll actually do this. I'll go to the end of the file, which is symbolized by that. If you want the beginning of the file, the beginning is that. But since we want the end of the file, we're going to do that. And what do I want to append at the end of the file? I want to append an extension, which is .zip. So if I hit my enter, you'll actually see we have a tuanike.zip. Let me just do this. I'll just put this in a extensions.txt. And I'll not only do that for zip files, I'll also do rar, because you never know what this developer was thinking. Maybe they are so fond of rar files and not zip files. They are so fond of .tar.gz files. They're so fond of .tar.bz. There's actually bz. There's xz. You guys get the point. Let me just stop there. Actually, that's just enough. So if I cut my new file, I have all the words that I've grabbed throughout the whole assessment since we started all this. All the words I've actually appended .zip to them. I've appended .rar to them. I've appended .tar.gz, and I've appended .tar.bz. So we're not going to give this developer a chance to catch us off guard. So in case they have a backup file and they were thinking the same way I'm thinking, we can actually use this against them. So I've used this with great success so far. And I think of all the for the bug bounty submissions, the ones I usually don't get as much duplicates, I've used this technique, of which I wasn't taught by anyone. It's just like a form of observation by just looking at stuff and how will a developer be thinking. So this is another unique avenue for attacking a web application. That's why the presentation wasn't something so technical, but something that the mistakes they usually do that Wordlists can help us track those mistakes. So yeah, this is how I usually come up with Wordlists for finding my backups. And at the end of it all, I'm going to show you some stuff that I found using this, my eventual Wordlist. In fact, I've renamed my Wordlist to Bionic Wordlist Master.txt. Yeah, so that's that. We also have subdomain brute forcing. You can use your new Wordlist to brute force for subdomains. And for that, we have a tool called NocPy. I don't know if I have it installed. Yeah, we have NocPy. And then we have, I can give it my domain, which is safaricom.co.ke. And then I'll give it my Wordlist, which is, which Wordlist do I have? TXT. So this should go to, yeah. So it will get the Wordlist and it will get the contents, and it will try and brute force and see if different things resolve given a DNS. Yeah. So it's trying out some different stuff. Oh, do we have this Wordlist? So the ones that resolve will actually give you so this is trying out for the DNS queries, but it will also give you the ones that will resolve as a result of our Wordlist that we have. So these are different ones. It will give you the status code of the ones that resolve, which are, these are asset controls. So far, not any that's in our list. Maybe if I can just cancel that. Let me just kill that script. But yeah, you guys get the point. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's for subdomain brute forcing. Not all the time are you going to be using maybe sublister. You can use sublister, you can use the subfinder we looked at, but sometimes if you have your unique words, you want to use them to brute force the subdomains, and this is how we do it. So it will actually just use that word and it will actually append it at the beginning of .safaricom.co.ke and give you the ones that resolve. So take note of this tool called NocPy. Yeah, and you can actually, with practice and some knowledge of Bash, you can actually encompass these tricks in an environment where you can actually automate all this stuff. And final one is for the Nuclei templates. If you guys are not familiar with Nuclei, it's a tool by PD Discovery, Project Discovery team. These guys have some really awesome tools. And Nuclei is a tool that actually relies on templates with configurations from known vulnerabilities that actually, with configuration from known vulnerabilities that make it easy for you to find vulnerabilities in different domains. So this is probably this is going to be the final demo that we'll have for today, and then we'll call this a night for tonight, and then we'll call this a night. So we have this tool called Nuclei. Oh, yeah. So for starters, I just okay, this is not hacking either way, it's just Googling. So I just went here and I said index.of env. Oh yeah, my proxy is on. Sorry about that. So I just said index.of env. So we have this. This is just a sample of a site we've just found online that has an env file. This is just for the demo purposes, showing you how Nuclei works. So we usually have nuclei, we give it -u, this is a URL, and then this -t is for templates. So you can specify the templates it came with. So you guys can go and research on how to install Nuclei and configure it, because when you configure it, it's actually a pretty dope tool. So if we do this, it will actually go and load this template on this path, which is exposures, configs, and then when you press enter, it will actually start looking for those vulnerabilities. As we can see, the very first one here is Laravel env, which is supposed to be a critical find because it usually contains database credentials. So it actually resolved and gave us the link to where it is. And if we can actually see here, we have that there. And if we open it, to me, I don't use this. Now using this will now be unlawful. Me, I was just Googling around. Let me even close that tab here. Yeah, so it gave us some stuff that it found. So the good thing with the nuclei and why I encompassed it in this whole thing is because when it was loading, it gave us this endpoint, meaning this path where we actually have stuff. Let me just look at one of the configs that it used to find this env file. So we have laravel.env. So if I go and nano this file, people don't like other security people using nano. Everyone usually insists on Vim, and I'm using nano. Yeah, here it is. So here is how they defined the env file. And as you can see, it's looking for other stuff, not just the env file. So it's looking for this .env. It's looking for .env.dev.local, .env.development.local. As you can see, they have tried so many different variations of the env file. And if you actually look closely, it's the same thing I was doing with with the zip files. I was coming up with maybe a word, I append a .zip, I append a .tar.gz, and these guys have done the same. So what I'm trying to say is you can actually use this to your advantage. You can actually define your stuff here. Maybe you found a .env something. Maybe it was a .back. Maybe someone decided to back it up somewhere and renamed it as .back. So you can actually come and include this. You can just copy all this. Maybe go here. Just add that on the fly. And maybe you have an env.back. So it will also look for this as it's looking for the rest. So this is a way you can actually use your word list. So you can go manually through all these templates. There are so many templates, by the way. There's so many templates. It's just exposures. All these are templates. We have CVEs, default logins. So the more you do your assessments, the more you do your bug hunting and find other stuff, you can actually come inside here and actually add them the same way we've edited that .env file. And there you go, you have your word list and you have a new way of creating word lists. Now you have a new way of, creating word lists. You're not going to be relying on the old way of using the existing word list. Now you can use the existing ones. You can go and get word lists from different avenues that we've looked at today. If maybe in case you guys forget, I'll leave the presentation slides to Laura. Maybe she can share it with everyone else. And there's a final, wait for it.
Okay, does anyone anyone with any questions? Sorry. Oh, that was me. I've actually posted on the chat if we can have a whole hands-on tutorial on Bapsuit in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know it's pretty long.
Yeah, but it is long. Yeah, so yeah, we can actually have that in the future.
Yeah. Any other
I have no
questions?
objections.
Hello, Laura. I think I have a question from my end. Which was that particular tool you said you can fetch with data from Twitter command line?
Let me just Google it right now. It was called Ngoja. It was Tweepy. Twitter. Let me just Google it right now, real quick. Wait, no.
Let me ask Twitter. Sorry, Hila. How about Tufin? Is it Tufin?
Sorry?
There was another one called Tufin also.
Tweepy. It was, I think it was there was Tweepy. I think it was this Twitter scraper. Yeah. Yes, it is the one. Yeah, it's the one. It's Twitter scraper. The other one was Tweepy.
Apparently, Tufin is a firewall management framework.
I know. Yeah, Tweepy, the Twitter for Python.
Yes, that one is the right one.
Yeah, I think those are the two ones I've used before. You can even set an alert of TweetDeck. It's called TweetDeck. TweetDeck, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, you can actually set an alert for maybe if you get, maybe someone is hunting on Safaricom, and you can set an alert for in case they post anything with a link, it alerts you. So you can actually set this and it will alert you in real time.
Any other questions, comments, additions?
Hello, Hillary.
Hi.
Shalom here.
Hi.
Please, could we go back to your header analysis slide? I believe there's a lot of information one can work with from the header analysis. And, you know, we saw quite a lot from there. Imperva, etc.
Oh, okay. So, let me go to the get header. To something like this. This is what you mean?
Yes. So aside from just creating a word list, if it's okay to talk about it, what else can you do with this information?
It's nothing much. You can't abuse. Okay, in most cases, it's just getting information about the target, the URL. There's nothing much. Like maybe right now you can, right now I can already see these guys are using CloudFront. We can see they're on AWS, not AWS at EMZ, at AWS. We can see there are security policies for referrals. They're using the same origin policy. So stuff like cause can be cross-origin request, those stuff. You can actually try them here, but not in most cases they will work. We have things like the server. This one will tell you which server they're using. We have the location to where the application is redirecting to. Cache, we can actually get these guys are using Cloudflare. They're protected by some form of Cloudflare. Some cookies, which most likely they're usually nothing big. CDN. Basically, these are just stuff to do with what's behind, what's underlying on the server itself and the settings they have in place. So in most cases, it's usually just recon.
All right. You also mentioned that developers insert certain things in headers.
Oh yeah, they usually have some custom headers. Maybe there's a place where maybe the application was to only the application was to only load if someone has a specific header in mind. They're going to define it here on their headers or on the code. It's going to reflect here on the headers, but it's also going to be on the code. I don't know if you've ever had these applications where you have to have a certain header for you to send a request. Have you ever seen such applications?
Closest I've seen is user agent.
Okay, apart from the user agent, they usually have some custom header. Maybe there are programs where they can actually tell you, you can, in order for you to access anything on the site, use Babsuit or Curl or whichever tool you're going to use, but pass this specific header. Maybe they have an X hacker1 underscore something like that. So you can actually get an idea of, oh, wait, this site requires custom headers from a custom header that will be defined here. So all these custom headers usually have something to do with how that server is supposed to identify a user who's visiting it or traffic that's come to or from it. Actually, usually in most cases, traffic that's coming to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other question? Yeah, so the session was just about word lists, but there's a lot. Maybe in other future sessions, you can actually touch on other things, such as the technical stuff, because this wasn't technical. Okay, it was just a bit technical. It wasn't, I will not consider this as technical. So this was just the art of creating word lists so that you can use that word list in other technical situations or scenarios now. So this was just a primer on how to actually create those word lists. And before I ended the session, I wanted to show guys like some, hey, let me just make sure I don't have anything that's revealing the people. Yeah, so I wanted to show like a couple of scenarios where I've actually submitted issues, or should I say bugs, to programs using these techniques and the backup files I've found. Okay, hope there's nothing incriminating here. Yeah, there's nothing incriminating. So this is an example of this. Was a whole backup I found. It was renamed to something related to that, to a word I found on the domain. So submitted that, triaged, paid. Also another one, user personal information was revealed, submitted, triaged. Oh shit, I was supposed to blur out this. Another backup file I found, submitted, triaged. Another sensitive information disclosed, whatever, something. As you can see, there's like a zip file here, which was actually renamed to something relating to what I actually got from the word lists. There's another critical one that was triaged here, which revealed the full source code of the entire application. And the final one, backup file, another backup file I found. So the rest, I think I have not actually scraped the information from them. So if I showed you, it will reveal information about a private program that's not supposed to be revealed. So yeah, that's everything. And just a practical application of how I've used this out there to find other backups using the same technique, which goes to show word lists are a good thing to have. There's a reason these word lists are been harvested. For example, the sec list we've seen, there's a reason this guy was harvesting this word list. Sec list. And yeah, so I think that's the end of my presentation.
Yeah. Mr. Bionic.
Yeah.
Before you leave, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
in case you were just doing the same and found an empty zip file, is it worth reporting?
No,
or is there any other way you can chain it to something else maybe?
If it's empty, it has nothing to chain. Yeah, because if it's empty, there's literally nothing to report on it.
Maybe add something bionic for that. For Safaricom, it's normally when you find sensitive information, customer data.
Yeah.
If anything close to that is what warrants it to be a valid bug. But if you don't find anything close to that, sorry, man. We'll just charge and say it's not applicable. Yeah. Hi, Pinch. I think I've seen someone here that I knew virtually.
I've also seen Pinch. I can't see the chats. Oh.
Does anyone else have a question? I know we are running a little over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll have a follow-up session with Hillary as I requested for BAP suit tutorial. Thanks, Nomi. Oh, I'm saying thanks on behalf of Hila.
Oh yeah, I've also seen some other stuff as Leo was posting .tile.gz, pinch.back, Steven.back, yeah, all those stuff .iso, just being creative with whatever you're creating on the word list. It's all about being creative.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my handles, just in case. That's my account handle, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, and my blog. Nilikuwa nishasema huko kwanza. So whenever I usually find some cool stuff, I post them here. Yeah. Yeah, Nivo.
So thank you so much, Hila. If you guys have any other questions, please be free to reach him on the different social media handles that he's posted there. His Twitter, his GitHub, and his blog is there on the screen. So be sure to connect with him. And thank you so much, Hila, for joining us tonight. It's been a great session. I feel like, baby ako huko nyuma. I feel like, yeah. Please next time do a session with her.
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been baptized by fire by force, even if it was an introductory session, and just goes to show how deep this stuff can get. So thank you so much. And everyone else, asanteni sana. Eve, maybe you can close.
I think it's just keep hunting for bugs, everyone, and you'll get your reward when that comes. Stella, do you have something to say?
No, me, just thank you for hosting me. I think this is my first session in over 1 year. I don't present, mi nakuanga na stage fright. Hata nikwe kwa nyumba, kwa screen, niko na stage fright. Yeah, but thanks for the session. Yeah, it was good, I think.
It's been a nice one. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for working with us today. And for everyone, thank you for attending the session. And yeah, I think I was asked, Stella, maybe do you have something to say, to add to that? And you can close it for us.
It was nice. Thank you so much. And as much as you're saying you have stage fright, I know giving us a photo for the poster was an issue. So congratulations.
I almost did send it.
Yeah, I think you can close. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so
okay.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, all. I'm gonna end the session now. Bye.
In 3, 2, 1, 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, 0.5,
when are you done counting?
0.4, 0.3, almost there, 0.2,